Yo, what's good, man? I'm excited to talk about it. Let's go. So WWE just gave us one of the best weeks in TV in recent memory. Heading into the Royal Rumble, Punk laying out his WrestleMania path, Bron Breakker snapping on Monday Night Raw and getting suspended, and of course, we crowned a new WWE Universal Champion, Drew McIntyre. If this is how WWE is starting us off on the road to WrestleMania, we're in for a ride. Y'all know what it is, bro. It's right in the ropes. Let's tap in.
Welcome back to your weekly episode of the Writing Rose podcast, and we have a banger for you this week. We are your hosts. My name is Travis. My host's name is Winston. This is Writing the Rose podcast, where we are authentic 100% of the time. Let's get it.
Let's go. No filter, baby. Y'all know what it is. Right here, let's get it. So what do you want to talk about first, dog? We had a crazy week. Crazy week. My goodness. Let's talk about the biggest news, bro. Drew McIntyre. Obviously, we tackled this last week. We were sitting here like, yo, I told you, I'm like, I don't know, bro. I think they might pull that trigger, bro. And the reason I gave you was because, they didn't do the world title change. So I was like, all right, they might be likely to do, it wouldn't surprise me they do the universal title change. It's a small little, but I was like, they might do it. What did you think?
I think it throws a wrench into the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I think it throws a wrench into it in a very good way, because right now we have no clue. I have a theory, but as of right now, we really don't know where they're going with Drew for Mania. We don't know what this title reign is going to look like. Is this a short reign title reign and Cody gets it back? He holds it to Mania?
That's what I was looking at online. A lot of people are like, oh, he might be a transitional champion, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, ooh, I hope that's not the case. My way, that for him specifically, right? Because of all that he's been through. Like, I posted on our page like a few days ago. I saw somebody posted it. I would give credit if I could, because I forgot who posted it. But it was a post that was showing him from like when he won it twice with no fans, and then won it and got screwed, and then now he's finally the champion. It's like the perfect story. And for them to transition away from that, it just wouldn't sit right.
Yeah, right. I 100% agree. They need to, I believe they should have him go into Mania with the title. Is he going to hold it through Mania? I'm not sure, but I think at least he should go into Mania with the title.
Well, let's kind of piggyback off of that and transition into SmackDown, kind of like the show as a whole. So like, it's crazy how, we just talked about, you don't know if he's going to hold it until Mania. Well, Nick Aldis just set up that tournament for next week. So you got, I think Orton and The Miz are doing a one-on-one match. And then you got, I think there was like a bunch of people, dude. There was like there was a bunch of matches. If we can pull it up, we will, and we'll add it in here. But it's stacked. Like there's some, and it's all to see who faces Drew at the Royal Rumble, and Cody is not included. That leads me to, so is he a transitional champion? I don't think he drops it at the Royal Rumble, because based on the way it's being set up, if Cody's not included, Cody's not getting it back. Jacob's not included in the tournament either.
Yeah, right. And with him being back, we got to actually see how that all plays out, how they play it out with who attacked them.
Right. So with neither one of them being included in the tournament, as much as I like everybody that's in the tournament, I know Sami's in the tournament, I know Randy's in the tournament, I know Miz is in the tournament, I know Dragunov's in the tournament. Like there's some good talent there, but none of them I think are in the position to be Universal Champion over Drew McIntyre at this moment in time.
Well, I 100% agree. That's why I said if he loses it before Mania, the only person he's losing it to is Cody.
Yeah.
That's my thought about it. Like,
so
he's the only believable person I see taking it off of him. And
so,
go ahead. I was just gonna say, I'm excited to see what they decide to do with this, with, if he's going to hold it into WrestleMania, what they're going to do going in there. Because with this tournament, we touched on it that, we're thinking Sammy is, and I was thinking about that, and I'm thinking, like, what if this is just the beginning of a program? Because the last year, what has Sammy been telling everybody? What is the main thing Sammy's been telling everybody? What have they been telling him, and what has been his response?
He's gonna win the championship.
They were telling them, something. They tell him something along the lines of, "You wouldn't know what it feels like because you've never been a champion." And he says that he will win it. So it's like, when I sit back and I thought about what could possibly be, I really only see two avenues. The second one I don't really see, because the second one, before we get to the first one, the second one I would see being an angle with him and Jacob Fatu. But then I would that would then have to, I think, include that Drew is the one that attacked him, and seeing is Jacob, even though it's inadvertently, Drew was the one that attacked Jacob. I don't think he would do anything to even inadvertently help Drew win the title. So I don't know with this. So like because I was looking at the fact that he attacked Drew first, but then he went after Cody. So I'm thinking, my initial thought is that Cody is Cody the one that attacked Jacob?
So oh, go ahead.
But then my second thought on it was, does Jacob know who attacked Jacob? And he just attacked both of them because those were the last two people that he was dealing with at the time.
So my thing was like, so what do you do? Because now my question for you is going to be and then we got to transition to something else. But my question for you real quick would be, do you think they can go to a triple threat between the three? Do you think that's what it's leading to? Do you think if it does lead to that, does it happen at WrestleMania or before WrestleMania?
You mean a triple threat as in with Cody, Drew, and Jacob?
Jacob,
Correct?
yes. Yes. No? Okay.
I don't think either way, even if Cody is to win the title back from Drew on the road to Mania, I don't think it's leading to a Mania match with Drew in any way. I think we may get some type of character shift. And obviously, like you said, I believe it was last episode, is the chase for the title is always greater than being the champion as a babyface, that is. So I think that we and Cody may take this opportunity. They're like, hey, you just had two pretty lengthy title reigns with it. How about, we get you off it for a little bit,
Take a step back for a minute.
Yeah.
Repackage.
We take a step back. We take one step back to go two steps forward.
So real quick before we get too far away, let's go ahead and get to the actual meat and potatoes of SmackDowns. We had Randy open the show, right? You had Randy open the show, and he was getting ready to address the crowd, and first thing that happens is Trick Williams decides to make his presence known. Now, my first thought is, okay, you have Trick interrupt Randy Orton, and that right there just indicates to me that WWE thinks of him as a main event talent off the rip. You're putting him against one of the top dogs in the game, especially in a promo spot. This isn't like, okay, you guys are just having this is a promo spot. Now, watching the promo itself, it wasn't a bad promo. It was a solid foundation, solid start. I think some of the actual stingers or some of like the lines that were supposed to be like, ooh, moments, didn't get those ooh, it was just kind of dead air, right? So, and that's normal for a new superstar, up and comer, right? So I don't expect that to be the norm, but it definitely stood out to me. What did you think?
Well, yeah, like as him being freshly, he's made a couple appearances now up on the main roster, but obviously he's gonna have to acclimate himself to a more casual fan, because as good as the wrestling is on NXT every Tuesday, the casual fan isn't really tuning in to that.
Right.
So obviously you're going to get your core fan base that knows who you are when you get called up, but you're going to have to take your time and acclimate yourself to the rest of the fan base that isn't aware of who you exactly are.
It's a new landscape. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. A new landscape.
Getting over in NXT is one thing. Getting over on the main roster is a totally different ball game.
So directly after that, you get Orton and Ray Phoenix, or I'm sorry, not Orton and Ray Phoenix, Trick Williams and Ray Phoenix, excuse me. So, but no, that match was solid too. Love Trick's offense. I think like Trick's offense is never my issue. I think watching the match, for me personally, one thing that stood out to me was some of his selling, right? So there's a spot I noticed where Ray Phoenix had like punched him in the chest or kicked him in the chest in the corner. And, he puts him up on the turnbuckle, like to set him up for a move, like a move off the top rope. And Trick is just kind of like sitting there, not writhing in pain, not clutching his chest or not, just sitting there waiting for him to climb the turnbuckle to then, transition into the move. So I'm like, stuff like that, I'd like to see a little bit more like ring awareness of like, okay, you can't just, that's not, that doesn't sell well. That's not necessarily a good look. But other than that, and that's nitpicky, but other than that, great talent, great match. Other than that, I thought it was solid.
He'll get better with time.
Yeah.
The one thing is that I think about a lot is with the landscape of what NXT is, there's not a lot of vets down there. Like obviously you have the trainers and the coaches and everything like that. And you got the people from the main roster that come down, but you're not really able to get in the ring and work a match with the real vet. I mean, obviously they have their guys down there. They have their, Sean Spears, Ethan Page has been around, maybe not in WWE, but Ethan Page has been around, a while. Ricky Saints has been around, not in WWE, but has been around a while. But you can only get so much work in with that limited number of people. So with more time in the ring, with more guys who are veterans, and who have crafted that, honed their craft, all that will come with it.
Right.
The thing with Trick Williams is the things that he's not good at are the easy things to get better at when it comes to getting over in WWE.
So I guess the thing is, so now my question becomes, and we'll move on, but with Trick, is he ready or is he close? And when I mean, is he like a main event ready star now, or is he like right on the cusp of being that?
I think as of right now, he's right on the cusp. I think he needs a little bit.
Just a little bit. Let it simmer for a little bit.
I think he needs a little bit more time. Think he needs, like I said, some time in the ring with some vet.
Give it like 6 months.
Something like that.
If that. Might not even take that long, depending on the booking, right? So, but all right. So, after that, we had Bliss and Julia. So Alexa and Julia, and this was for the Women's United States Championship. So the match, in my opinion, was pretty solid. Weekly shenanigans, interference played a part in Julia retaining. Charlotte Flair wasn't there, so they played on that and kind of left Alexa vulnerable. The United States Championship at some point, or do you think that this was just a one-off type of thing and Julia will end up feuding with somebody else?
I think she's going to end up feuding with somebody else. I think the plan for Alexa is a match with Charlotte.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. So you think that's is that at WrestleMania?
I think so. I think that's going to be what they, what WWE gives them. I seen something actually not that long ago that Charlotte had said, I think it was like last week or something, on how she was genuinely, pretty much she was excited to work in a tag team with Alexa, because she's, pretty much like we've talked about before when it comes to Charlotte, who are you as a character? Who are you as, you're Charlotte Flair, but you've never really had character development. It's just,
it's like, who are you besides the daughter of Ric Flair?
Yeah, exactly. And it's now we're getting to see that. And initially when they teamed up, or when they were, starting to team up, I thought it was going to be Charlotte that turns on Alexa, but I
Do
don't
you think it's
now.
gonna be the other way?
I think it might be the other way now.
So what makes you think that? What like yeah, like break that
It's
down a little bit.
it's the different dynamic to go about it. It's like Charlotte's pretty much always been a heel.
Yeah, I mean
You
it's
know,
predictable if you go with Charlotte, right?
it's predictable. I just want to see something different. Really, there's nothing that has showed is what will happen.
But it may happen and they may shock us.
Right. It may not have started yet. It could start
Right.
at the Rumble, in the Rumble.
She eliminates her, whatever, accidentally or what have you. She thinks it's on purpose, or maybe it is on purpose, accidentally on purpose. So we'll see. We had Jordynne Grace debut. So I
I'm
don't
so
know
glad.
I don't know if you got a chance to see that match, but it was what you want to do was a debuting star. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't see
I'm
it,
so
but
glad
from
she's
what
on
I
the
heard,
main
it was a
roster.
squash. A squash, pretty much.
Yeah. She fought Alba Fire, right? That's how you
Yeah,
pronounce her name?
yeah.
Yeah, she fought her, but no, she dominated in what was a squash match. But the real highlight was she got like a face to face with Jade. So now it's like, okay, so not only
I
did you
love how
put
they're inserting these. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just love how they're inserting all these call ups and they're like putting them with big names right away. Like, you
that's where I was
know,
getting ready to go with that. Like you just put Trick Williams in there with Randy, and then you put Jordynne Grace in there with Jade Cargill
that,
immediately.
having her have a squash match and then instantly having a face to face with Jay Cargill. There's
Yeah,
pretty much no better way that you could debut that shows the crowd that you are somebody to be taken serious. And I'm so happy
exactly.
she's on the main roster because they pretty much used her as like a glorified, I hate to say this, but a glorified jobber on the.
Yeah. Yeah, but now I think now you can really, and this is where I think the women's division is actually better than the men's because now the mid card is going to be insane. You can play with her in the mid card or in the top tier. I think if you put her in the mid card though, it strengthens the mid card even more. There's just so much talent
Yeah, I think
in that tier.
so. I don't think we're gonna get like an immediate blow off of that face to face. I think in the time where you're
No,
establishing Jordan, yeah, have her in the mid card. She could be the one that takes the title off of Julia.
could be. Could be, and depending on how you build that, that could establish both of them and make both of them even bigger than where they are right now. And so after that, we had the MFTs and the YS6, and this is a match, pretty decent, tag match, but basic. But the one thing I did want to touch on, and this is like gonna hit a lot of people, I feel like, but Eric Rowan, dude, he is the most underrated member of the group, and he's probably the most underrated member still in WWE. Like, think about this. He is the
If you
only
think
surviving member left of the original Wyatt family.
original, I was just gonna say that. Like,
So
think of what
the
that
weight
man
that
is.
he carries, in that, not only in that faction, but the fact that he's in that company, it sits in my heart. It's like, thank you, bro. Thank you. Cause you're keeping their
Yeah,
legacy
like
alive, bro.
I'm glad to still see you there
Yeah.
because we obviously were robbed of numerous years of Bray and Brody or Brody Lee, John Huber, however you want to refer to him. But with both of them unfortunately passing away prematurely,
Right.
I only felt
But
after he passed, and obviously you knew this whole Wyatt Six thing was coming. Like, I'm like, if you don't have Rowan in it, what are you
do it.
doing? What
Almost
are you
don't
doing?
do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like,
like,
so
you got to. And so, yeah, salute. Thank you to Rowan. I just wanted to put that in here. I wanted to make sure we
that you get your
tackled
flowers.
that. Yeah, for sure.
You
Cause
know,
you
we want to
deserve
make
that
sure
for
you
sure.
get your flowers because we appreciate you being in the company. We appreciate the weight that you hold on your shoulders and going out there every day to entertain us.
Yes, sir. So real quick, and then we'll move on to Monday Night Raw. So we had Mello. There was like real quick on SmackDown. He did the open challenge. had a match against Shinsuke. Before that match though, I had a quick little run-in backstage with Ilya Dragunov and The Miz. A couple of things I want to touch on. The Ilya Dragunov thing, we kind of got a tease. I don't know what Ilya
He wouldn't happen to be one of them in the tournament to face Drew, would he?
Dragunov?
Yeah, he wouldn't
Yeah, he's
happen.
in the
Yeah,
tournament.
he is in the tournament. That could have been
He
what he
is.
was talking.
Yes.
That's what he could have been talking to Nick about.
Very well could have been. But
I don't know. I was
regardless,
just trying to.
we did. Oh no, you're good. But regardless, they didn't show it on camera, so we didn't see it. And Melo's like he's talking to him. He's like, "Yo, when are we gonna fight again?" Basically, and Dragunov's like, "We'll fight again at some point later, but right now, I got bigger fish to fry." Wink, wink. So that's basically what he said. So he very well right could be the tournament that he wanted to enter, and assert himself in. But initially, my thought was Royal Rumble or something else. If it's a tournament, it makes more sense because it's leading up to the Royal Rumble and it's a direct championship match, not him having to earn a Mania shot, which we know he's not going to win.
Yeah,
so
correct. And
it would make sense for it to be the tournament.
Yeah, that's what makes 100%. That's what makes sense in my head, at least. And
then we talked. Well, let's hit it.
I mean,
we had the 3 stages of hell match. Obviously, we had
obviously
Cody and McIntyre.
I think it was entertaining. Obviously, we got the surprise return of Jacob, so that leaves a lot of questions right now. Because seeing Jacob get in the ring, obviously, like I said before, him beating both, down, but it seemed to me that Cody got the worst of it.
Mm-hmm.
From what I see.
For sure. I mean, he lost the title.
No, I'm just saying. I would say
he got the worst of it.
It seemed like
I know what you're saying, actual beatdown, but I'd be like, damn. I mean, I lost the championship. I mean, I don't know how much worse I don't know how much worse you wanted to get. You cost me my championship.
Right. And it played out. I told you, it played out exactly. Well, not exactly, but the matches went exactly how I told. The winners went exactly how I told you they were gonna go. I told you Drew would get the first fall, and then they would flip-flop falls if Drew were to win.
Okay, I mean the match itself was a good match. I mean my favorite stage was the Falls Count Anywhere stage. The first match was good, like the normal match, but the Falls Count Anywhere was really the showstopper, and the steel cage was like the closing of the chapter. So that's kind of the layout they went with, but it was good. Very good.
I mean, I think Drew McIntyre should have dominantly walked out of the cage. He fell out the cage, I guess.
Yeah.
It all gets the job done.
I mean, he walks out with the belt at the end of the day. That's what we wanted to accomplish. However, if we were to nitpick, yeah, I mean, it'd have been better to see him walk out. We earned that, no interference needed, right? Like just walk in and do his thing. But whatever. So let's tap into Raw real quick. So we had the promo for Punk looking towards WrestleMania. What do we think about that?
I think it's all leading, from what I've seen tonight, it's all leading to Bron again. I think we're leading to Bron. I think it's quite obvious we're leading to Bron versus Punk, and that's when Bron's going to take the title off. Especially with him coming
getting back to it?
Huh?
How are we getting back to it?
Yeah, I'm starting more and more to believe that Bron's going to win the Rumble.
So Bron's going to win the Rumble.
I think obviously, because Roman was my pick before, but that was predicated on Cody having the title. So I can't predict Cody having the title going back in. I have to go with who has the title currently. So I think the Rumble winner.
So wait, before you break this down, let's take into account Roman, Cody, Jacob, Gunther, and who do we just name? Bron. 5. So that's 5 that we know are high likelies or dark horse, like main dudes. Not even dark horse, but
they have a chance to win. Yeah, they have a chance to win.
Right. All right, now break down. Now with all of those encompassed, go ahead and break that down.
I think they're going to let him absolutely go nuts. You seen him tonight? I think there's only 2
Who?
weeks.
Who? Bron?
Bron, yeah,
Okay.
he was
Okay.
running around like he popped a blood vessel. They
Yeah.
let him
He
off like a
snapped.
cannon tonight.
Yeah.
So, and obviously we seen that Pierce said that he is suspended indefinitely. There's only 2 weeks left until the Rumble. You could just as easily see that being keep him off until the Rumble. You don't get really much rumbling about him, and you think obviously. I mean, obviously you're like he's gonna be at the Rumble, right? But then there's that part in the back of your head where it's like, oh, well, maybe he's suspended indefinitely. You know, maybe you play into that, kind of speculate if he's even gonna be at the Rumble, and then he comes in, say 12 or
Okay.
not even 12. Have him
So he's
come
not
in
gonna be a late entrant.
no, honestly, you should probably have him be. It's probably better to have him be a late entrant. Have him come in at like 26, and just
Yeah. Right.
have the ring full, and have that man go crazy. Have
So
the
with that
last
being
4.
said, who would you want? Who would you want? Yeah, who are you gonna have him eliminate if he's coming in that late? Who are you gonna have? And he doesn't have to necessarily eliminate them specifically, right? It doesn't have to be by his hand. But who do you want him being in the ring with the last 4 or 3?
You give me Roman.
Okay,
Give me Gunther.
Roman and Gunther. So Roman, Gunther, Braun, and
No, actually, don't give me Gunther, because I think this is
so
it's going
Gunther's
to lead.
gone.
Yeah, I think he'll be in like the last 5 to 6.
Okay,
Maybe, I
so
don't know.
Roman and Braun though.
Roman, Braun. Give me
What
Jacob.
about Cody? Jacob?
Give me Cody, because that's how we're gonna get Cody.
Yeah.
I think we're getting Cody. I definitely think we're getting Cody Roman 3. It's just we're like you guys don't need the title for that.
I'm like, that's what I'm
Where else do
saying. I
you
don't
go?
think they're gonna
Where
have the
else do you
title, but
go
I
with
think that's how
Cody
they
now?
get. I think that's how we get it.
And
But
then
now
how?
it's like, okay, but what do you do with Drew? Because remember, you're like, I don't think Drew is getting to Mania with the title. So I'm like,
I think he should.
oh,
I
okay,
said
okay,
it's a
but you,
possibility that
okay.
he loses
So
it.
so
If
if
he
he,
does lose it, it's only going to be to Cody. But I think he should.
okay,
And
okay,
then
okay, and
and then,
so now what does he? What does he get? What's he locked in with?
so I told you how my second of I had 2 ways I think this may be going, and I told you the second of Jacob Fatu. My first, Sami Zayn. I think that's where we're going for Mania. And I think they're going to give Sammy his crowning achievement. I think Sammy is also a dark horse to win the Rumble as well. But I just think it just makes more sense for Braun to win it. You can have Sammy win the chamber. I just think he's a dark horse because it's going to be in Saudi. But I think they're going to give Sammy his crowning achievement. His Wrestle. I mean, obviously he's had WrestleMania moments before. He beat Gunther's streak. He beat the Uso streak with KO, all of that. But I think they're gonna give him his chance with the top title. I don't know who else on that brand unless unless you give it to Randy. But I don't really foresee that. Yeah, I think we're gonna go unless I mean Sammy, Cody. Who else do you really have as a face that can go up against? Yeah, no, I think they're gonna give Sammy. I think they just been playing into it too much. I think that's where it's leading to. If it's the only way I see it leading, should I say?
Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do with Sammy, bro, because he's another one that they've been holding off on for a while, for a long while. If we thought waiting for Drew was bad, waiting for Sammy is
Has been
just
even
as
worse.
bad, if not worse. Yeah.
No, it's
So
been worse.
it's like, yeah, we need a payoff for Sammy. All right, so let's dive back into the actual show of
Yeah,
Monday Night Raw. So,
we had the
oh, go
Punk,
ahead.
with the Punk promo.
Yeah, we had the Punk promo and Finn,
It
right?
was pretty much like if you remember back when he first won the title, he pretty much was like, maybe it's not when he first won the title, it was a couple months back.
Who
CM
are you
Punk
talking
had
about? Oh,
Punk.
Punk. Okay,
He had listed off a bunch of wrestlers that he would like to have a match with, and Finn Balor's name was on there.
nice,
So
nice.
that's what made Finn come out, and Punk just, being Punk on the mic, but, he told him, he was like, pretty much, he's like, where you been? He was like, that was months ago. You just now coming out? and pretty much he was like, he pretty much, in not so many words, called them. Some weeks he was like, he doesn't know, or he pretty much all he looks like is Liv Morgan's bitch, pretty much like
Wow.
not in those words, but
But yeah, we're
in pretty.
paraphrasing. Yeah. So
So Punk,
that's
Finn, or actually Punk came out and said that he would fight him tonight. But with them being in Ireland next weekend, obviously Finn from
that's
Ireland,
perfect. That's perfect. And is it for the world title or
it
no?
is. It is.
It is. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. So it looks like, our wishes are being granted by WWE, where we're talking about we want our world titles defended on the weekly programming. It doesn't have to. We don't have to play hot potato with it, but
You don't even have
give us
to
some.
defend them every week.
Yeah, right. And they're doing it a buttload, right? So, 2 weeks ago we talked about how, you know, you made a point where, WWE typically does not have their champions defend a ton, especially the world champions leading up to WrestleMania. But this year it feels completely different. It feels completely unexpected. It feels like anything can happen right now, which is
The
what we want.
one thing I ask is if we're going to get multiple defenses on the weekly shows, can we keep it going past WrestleMania and don't like leave it exclusively for the
Yeah,
road to
yeah.
WrestleMania?
WrestleMania season, yeah.
Like,
Because
don't
they
do
have a
that.
tendency to make it a season, leave it in a season and let it be done. Now make this a habit, make this a staple, right? Make
Like,
this a thing.
keep.
Not
I hate.
necessarily have it, you don't have to have it every single week, like you said, but give us some suspense. Leave the carrot at the end of the stick. Like give us something to chew on at the end of the week, you know?
I just hate how it's like the writing and everything is generally good in the road to WrestleMania, and then it's like right after the road to WrestleMania it falls off, and then you try to get it up a little bit for SummerSlam, and then after that it's like you just coast until the road to WrestleMania season. Like, let's get that going all year round.
Right, right, right. And like that will carry when certain stories, like, we talked about long-term storytelling. That will carry a lot of that when some of those weeks, from week to week, they feel dry, right? If you have more world championship matches, you have more title defenses, maybe the occasional swap, it adds to those rivalries, but also it adds to the weekly excitement to like carry the show over, develop the story even more.
Right. You're gonna have a tendency of having more people tune in week to week when you show them that the top title is being defended, and on occasion that it could actually change hands.
Right, right. So I left this out actually. At the top of the show, we did have Rhea and Io come out. Rio, right? That's what they're going by. We got Rio out there, our new women's tag team champions as of last week. They started off the show and then they got interrupted by a gang of tag teams. So the first
We had
tag
the
team was obviously Liv and Roxanne, and then we had Bailey and Lyra. So they both, are basically laying claim to be the number one contenders for the women's tag team championships. And then the Kabuki Warriors sneak Rio from behind and they end up brawling. So now you got like a three-way tag team brawl between the Judgment Day, Lyra and Bailey, and the Kabuki Warriors.
yeah, and obviously it led to a number one contenders match,
Right.
later in the show. So, which I mean
So
we can
who?
actually get into because it
Yeah, it's a
went
perfect segue.
it went opening segment, go right into that. So
So what did you think about that? Who came out on top? Because I didn't get a chance to catch that match.
Judgment Day.
Okay, Liv and Roxanne. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
pretty entertaining.
So do we see them winning the tag titles, or do we see anything happening before Raquel potentially wins the women's world title? Like, do they see
I
any
don't
type of gold before then?
Potentially. I don't know if you take it off if you give it to if you give it you just gave it to Rhea and Io. So I'm pretty sure that match is also next week too. If I
Are you
remember
talking about
correctly.
the? Are you talking
No,
about the
I'm
world
sorry. That's at
title?
Saturday. No, that's at Saturday night's main event. I'm sorry.
So wait, which championship? Oh, you're talking about the
The
tag
tag
team.
team. Yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah.
yeah,
I don't know if you take it off them so soon,
yeah.
but
That's quick.
you mean potentially you could to further develop any storylines within, any type of dissension within the, Judgment Day.
So what would you end up doing with Rhea and Io at that point? And then we gotta move on. What do you
So
want to do with them at that point? If they do indeed lose the tag titles to Liv and Roxanne.
I don't know what you do with them, really.
Because not that they need it, they don't need the tag titles. They're in a situation again, kind of like similar to Drew and similar to a lot of these top names in the company, where they don't need the titles to make them relevant. You can easily write them into any storyline you want, but like you just laid out for us, having them win the tag titles last week just to take it off them in less than a month is kind of like, okay, why did we do it? So
And you could have just had them take it off of the Kabuki Warriors at that
right,
point.
exactly, and had the same outcome. So can I see them losing it? Absolutely, I can see it. Do I think it's gonna happen? No, and I know you're not saying that either. So my thing is like, if they do lose it, like I said, what do we do with them?
I mean, that's really like another reason why I don't see them losing it, because
Because there's no just
what do you do with them unless you're having an EO, unless it leads to a breakup
Io
and
and
you're
Rhea.
having a match? That's the only thing I could see. I mean, obviously both of them are going to be in the Rumble, but I think Bianca's returning and winning that.
Okay, so last question then, as it pertains to Rio, how long do you think this reign lasts, and how long do you think they stay as a team, or how long do you think before we see a breakup? Do we see it like a heel face breakup, or do we see like just a traditional breakup, like a brand split is what breaks the team up?
I think we might see like shortly after Mania, I think we might see a shuffle, something, a draft, something, please, because SmackDown needs it. But I could see them potentially holding to Mania, and then whoever they face at Mania is probably going to be a multi-woman tag match, if I had to guess. And then you can have one of them take it off, and then shortly after that, have a superstar shakeup or a draft, and just have Rhea get drafted to SmackDown.
Okay, that's fair. So, okay, after that segment, we got Brunson, Austin Theory versus Dragon Lee and Penta. Real quick, I do want to touch on seeing Dragon Lee and Penta together. I think is going to be great. I think it's going to be a good duo, good tag team if they decide to go with that in that direction. I think having Dragon Lee transition from being in a tag team with AJ and then a returning Penta is great for his momentum. I don't think it kills it at all, but it keeps him steady and it still keeps him relevant without letting him fall off. And then for Penta, it's good because you're not putting him in a major storyline right away. You're giving him a chance to get the ring rust off, get him back in, ease him back into that water, and kind of see where he can go. So
Yeah,
what
I
do you
think
think?
I think this is going to be. I think it might be a short-lived tag team. I think it's more of an alliance because of both of their relationships with Rey Mysterio, and then Rey Mysterio's problems with the Vision. I
So
think that
when did they stop tagging?
I don't know, because it seems like the Vision's gonna beat up on Rey Mysterio forever.
Yeah, really, really though.
They've already been doing it forever at this point.
Yep. Just keep picking on Rey Mysterio. Pick on the smallest kid in the yard. That'll
Right.
show him. That'll show him we're big and bad.
I don't know how many times you can beat the smallest guy on the roster up and think that helps your momentum.
Yeah, bro. But no. Other than that, so when do you think you don't think it
I don't
lasts
know.
long, but yeah.
I don't know. I think they're gonna want. I don't know. I think they're gonna want Penta to. I think they're gonna have some type of singles. Maybe not like a one-on-one, but it's not gonna be a tag. He's not gonna be involved in a tag team match. I'm talking about Penta. I don't think. I think they may want him in a some type of one-on-one match, or
You're
whether
talking
it be a,
about at WrestleMania?
yeah. I
Okay,
don't know.
okay. So yeah,
I don't know
if
exactly what
if
they're gonna have. Sometimes they usually have some type of like ladder match or something. Like I said last week, Dom is out indefinitely. So we
What I
could,
would like to see, go
they
ahead.
could build up some type of tournament that goes from like say, right after Rumble and ends at Mania.
What I would like to see,
If he's got to
take
vacate.
right, right. What I would like to see if that, taking that concept and kind of tweaking it slightly, and this is going to bring nostalgia back for our long-term WWE fans, right? So, the Money in the Bank, right? Instead of having the Money in the Bank match, the ladder match that everybody knows and enjoys from back in the day that they used to have at WrestleMania, and they used to have it as the show opener, you have it be an Intercontinental Championship ladder match.
I was gonna say something like that too. I was gonna say or have like a multi-man ladder match for the Intercontinental
Yeah,
title.
you have an Intercontinental Championship ladder match as a show opener, and that kind of replaces the Andre the Giant Memorial,
I guess
which they
like I
don't
said,
even do.
they don't even do that on Mania
Yeah,
anymore. They
they
do
don't
it on the
even do it on
SmackDown
Mania. Yeah,
before. But I guess
yeah.
all that really depends on how long is Dom gonna be out for.
Well, even if you have him come back, right? Like, let's say he
I
comes
mean, yeah,
back,
you
he
could
doesn't
definitely
have to.
still have like the multi-man match. I'm talking about like my theory of like some type of tournament. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like
I
that
mean,
would
but
all
you could
depend.
still you could still do the tournament regardless of his timetable. Is what I'm saying. Because if he is prepared to come back at
You could
WrestleMania, you
have
have the
whoever wins
tournament
the tournament face
faces
Dom.
Dom,
Yeah, right.
right? But then if he is injured and he
Then
can't
it's
compete, you vacate the
right.
title and it's vacated. So you can have it regardless of his timetable.
But I don't know if they know the timetable. So that's the thing.
But yeah, yeah. I don't think
So
they
it's like,
do. No.
I think what they're doing is they're trying to give him time because you see, like I said, this is a lot of people have been going out with this specific shoulder injury this past, over the past like year or so. Like this is the one that Chad Gable has been out with. This is the one Liv Morgan just came back from, and Penta just came back from. But if you think about it, Chad Gable hasn't come back yet. Liv Morgan was out an extended period of time. Penta is the only one that really got away without like severely damaging his shoulder. So
Mhm.
I think what they're trying to do is I think they're trying to give him time, see if it heals up on its own, so he can, so he can go in the ring, or or see if he's gonna have to go under the knife.
Right. And which is the case, then now we know how we have to pivot. But like I said, obviously, we wish the best for him and we wish a speedy recovery. But as far as the product itself, as far as what they can do with the title, it kind of yeah, giving him time to get back because his momentum is hot. If he can come back, you know, before Mania or at Mania, that's going to be perfect for him. He hasn't been gone too long to not be able to catch that heat back instantly. But if he's got to, be out 6 months or more with the surgery
Yeah,
and all that, then yeah, you pivot in that direction. But we'll see what they do,
right. We'll see
But
how it goes.
I don't think it hampers
Uh,
their decision making one way or another.
it shouldn't. But to get back to the actual match in itself, obviously it was your standard heel versus. I don't know how much if you caught much of this match.
I caught bits and pieces of it,
I
yeah.
would say, obviously I know with you having to work and everything, but it was your standard heel versus face match. They, it was Theory Penta opened. Eventually they both tagged out. Bronson and Dragon Lee came in. Theory and Bronson started isolating Dragon Lee.
Yeah.
Penta got the
Yeah.
hot tag. That's when all the momentum swung, and that's when noticeably absent Bron Breakker decided he was going to make his presence be known
Of
and absolutely
course.
destroyed Dragon Lee with a spear out of nowhere. And then you have Adam Pearce, who had told Paul Heyman earlier in the night where Bron Breakker was. Paul Heyman said he wasn't sure. And then he told them when you see him and he shows up and has bad intentions, you can tell him to go home. So when Bron Breakker showed up, he was gonna do his signature run around the ring, the Spear Dragon Lee. And as soon as he was about to start running, that's when Adam Pearce showed up. and
Adam
was
Pierce just showed up and yeah.
pretty much was in his face telling them, we're not doing that, whole time. The rest of the Vision is dragging Penta to the corners to get Tsunami Bronson Reed in the
Yeah.
background.
It's like you're not stopping anything. I'm sorry. You're just here.
And then
I don't know what you
they
think
do
you're
that.
doing.
He goes in there. Reagan Lee gets in the ring. He gets speared again, and then that's when
Yep.
they get, him and or Bron and Pierce get face to face, and Bron kind of just walks past them, and then Pierce grabs him by the shoulder and like turns him around, and that's when Bron hemmed him up in the corner, all that, and then
Yep.
we had went to break. We came back, and he was Bron was walking away from Pierce. Pierce suspended him indefinitely. Paul Heyman decided, by Pierce. Pierce made the remark, or actually Paul Heyman made the remark of big mistake, and Pierce thought he was talking about Bron putting his hands on Pierce. So, Pierce was like, yeah, he just made the biggest mistake of his career. And it was Paul Heyman was actually referring to Adam Pierce because technically Adam Pierce put his hands on Bron first.
So what are the implications of that? Does that mean Bron's just going to get a free title shot?
I don't know if necessarily it's going to be a free title shot of that.
Or opportunity.
I think,
free title opportunity.
I mean, I think it might. I think it may. I think more than likely it just leads to the suspension not sticking because he suspended Bron for putting his hands on Pierce, but if Pierce wouldn't have put his hands on Bron would have never put his hands on Pierce.
Yeah, right.
So
I get that. So,
but I think they're just gonna. I think they're trying to push him. I think they're really trying to push him, and they're trying to build him up as much as they can leading into me. And I think he's going to take the title off of Punk, especially with Punk being with the statement in his promo earlier in the night about he plans on holding the championship forever.
So with that being said, knowing what we've seen and seeing how the story is developing with the Vision and Bron Breakker, do we still want to stick with the theory that Seth is behind Theory? And if that is the case, does Punk still retain at WrestleMania by virtue of Seth Rollins and Austin Theory interference?
I think we're leading to Bron. Seth probably comes back night after Mania. That's what I'm.
Okay. And so does that the night after Mania, I guess, kicks off if obviously this is all contingent upon Seth Rollins' health, but if he's ready to go, is that what kicks off the Seth Bron program?
Yeah, and I think that could potentially.
But you got to think what.
I think that
so
could
what's
potentially
Punk doing?
drag out
because Punk's gonna win his get back. So after Mania, right? So if he loses at WrestleMania, okay. So
I mean, you could potentially have Bron, which I don't think you should. You could have, because usually they'd have Backlash as the first one, PLE right after Mania, and usually that's nothing but a bunch of Mania rematches. Case in point, why it's called Backlash. But I mean, you could potentially, which like I said, I don't think you should do this. You have Bron win the title to give him, because and I only say this because like you can't put anything again, past WWE writing. Bron wins at Mania, and then Seth screws Bron at Backlash. You could hold Seth off until Backlash, but I think if with pretty much I think with how Bronson pretty much screwed Seth out of his championship and out of his faction. So what's the best way for Seth to get his get back? To screw Bron out of the faction by destroying the Shield, or not? I'm sorry, the
Vision, yeah.
And I could potentially see it being like, dragging out till, SummerSlam, where Seth may potentially get a couple chances to get the title.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of ways we can they can write that, with I'm more interested to see, and we'll move on after this because we got to tap into Gunther and AJ, but I do I'm interested to see what WWE decides to do with Punk going forward after his world title reign, right? Because you could have him move to SmackDown and have some stuff go on over there, but his stuff over on Raw is good, and I still feel like there's a lot untold, right? There's a lot more potential there on Raw that he hasn't had a chance, because if what we're talking about is true and what we predict is, actually happens, that means the only person that he's feuded with his world championship is the Vision, is Bron Breakker, and you talked about that last week. So is that really what we want to see from one of his last reigns in WWE? Not sure but that
No,
it might not be what we want to see, but that might be the way they go with it.
but did we want
So
to see? Did we want to see John Cena tap out in his last match?
exactly. So that's
You
where
know,
that's at.
I think they want, and this isn't to say that this is Punk's last time holding one of the top titles, but I think what they want with Punk at this point in his career is if he's holding a top title, they want to establish somebody who is
Be
taking
build
the title off of him.
Yes. Yes. Build that character
So,
up and let them kind of get that boost when they do take it off of him.
and there's nobody on the Raw roster right now that's worth taking that title off of him than Bron Breakker.
Agreed.
But besides that, I mean,
Let's tap into our main event. We got the main event, so AJ and Gunther.
I absolutely love the match. Obviously, and everybody's can tell by the finish that there's more left to be told in this story. I don't know if they're going to immediately circle back to it. I think little things may happen here and there over the next few months leading up to whenever AJ is inevitably going to retire. And that's when they
Mm-hmm.
circle back to it. Like we talked about, we didn't expect a clean finish, which I mean, I
Right.
guess in a
Yeah.
way we really didn't get
I
a clean
actually
finish.
expected a
You did a no,
non-finish.
yeah, non-finish.
I
You expected a
expected a
non-finish.
non-finish, but the way they did it was awesome. I love
That
the
was
way
actually
they
that was so
decided to do,
unique.
because
The way,
now that we got to finish.
yeah, we got to
Yep.
finish
Yep.
that
We got to finish, and yeah, go
in a
ahead.
different way.
Go
We got
ahead.
to finish in a different way that we don't normally see. The way that Gunther, and I'm sure they're going to play into it that it was his whole plan to do this all along, but to reach around to the opposite side where the ref can see and tap on there to get out of said calf crusher is,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't write a unique finish much better than that.
That right there is something that I would do as a kid, playing with my WWE action figures with the ring and the intro. It's
You,
like something that only like you would only make that up in some scenario like that. Like, it's insane that you would think of that, and the implications that can happen from it, right? So you just talked about, you don't have to immediately circle back to it. You can play this out over a long. You can have AJ have programs with other people,
yeah,
have them do whatever, and same with
You could
Gunther,
have
right?
AJ eliminate
Have them
Gunther
do whatever,
in the Rumble. You could,
and that
just
helps
little
further.
things,
Yeah, that helps further. And
over.
even with that, that's a small. Yeah, right. That's just one tack in the one chink in the armor, right? He's just slowly chipping away at it, and then by the end of the day, he's like, "Oh, okay, I got enough cracks in Gunther's armor to like finally beat him." No, you don't. No, you don't.
No,
You
because
thought you did, but you don't.
under that
And now you
armor,
got to
it's
retire.
more armor. You just got through the plot armor of
Yeah, right.
Goldberg. Now you have to get through the plot armor of
Yeah,
Cena now.
yeah. So, I mean, that's what it is, though. I mean, if you get Gunther and AJ, you can play that out over an extended amount of time until, like you said, whenever AJ is inevitably ready to hang it up. But in the meantime, in between time, you can have those individual small moments, like you said, great example. Have AJ, eliminate Gunther from the Rumble, and now, okay, let's say 2 months from then, you have AJ get jumped backstage, mystery attacker, something, whatever. it ends
Right.
up being Gunther. Okay, and then months down the road, something else happens. And then you eventually have it culminate in AJ's retirement match with Gunther. So, that
You can
I
have
can
it
definitely
play
see
out.
that happening.
You could even have it play out somewhat where it's like AJ's time is winding down and he just comes out and he's like, I don't have much time left in this ring. Me and Gunther have been going back and forth for months, and that's one thing I gotta settle. That's one thing in the ring that I gotta settle before I leave out, and that's how you
He
get
could do
to.
that. He could definitely do that. And if you really want to, you can tie it back into John, because you could tie it back in to kind of be like, yo, I'm gonna defend John from all X, Y, and Z. Like, not only has he been messing with me, he's messing with the legacy of the company. Da 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 da. I'm the face that runs the place. Da 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 da.
Yeah, right.
So it almost writes itself. So one more, we're gonna tap into our Royal Rumble predictions. Last thing. So what do we think? Final, not final predictions, because obviously we had 2 more weeks. But as of right now, we talked about the Rumble earlier. If we gotta choose one man to win it right now, who would choose him?
Bron Breakker, and he's breaking the elimination record.
Ooh. And he's breaking the elimination record. Okay. So Bron Breakker, and he's breaking the elimination record. I don't know, bro. It's a tough one. I think for me, I don't know. I feel like I need a drum roll, bro. I feel like I need a drum roll, bro. I don't know. I'm gonna go Sami Zayn. I'm gonna go Sami
And
Zayn, bro. I'm gonna go
I
Sami
thought
Zayn.
I thought about that too. I thought about that. I thought about Sammy as well.
I'm
Something to help even further establish Bron Breakker.
I was like, man, I gotta take Sammy, only because, like I said, we talked about earlier, talking about waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for, breakthrough moment. That's like our next Daniel Bryan, our next Kofi Kingston, feel good. Like, yeah, we need that. We need him to win. We need him to have, and, he doesn't necessarily have to have it, a year, 9 months, but give him at least a lengthy reign with it. Let him have his breakthrough moment. Let him have that. He's
Yeah,
been a workhorse for the company. He's been there long enough. He's paid his dues. He's done everything else. Give it to him, man. He deserves it.
I agree. I agree
And
with.
that's not to take away anything from McIntyre.
They need to give Sammy his moment. I just think he's gonna win the chamber to get there.
Okay. Yeah, no, I could definitely see him winning the chamber too. But, I wanna at least have a hot take pick. And that's my hot take pick. I know a lot of people are gonna go be like, nah, it ain't gonna be Sammy. It's gonna be Roman. It's gonna be Gunther. It's gonna be somebody that we
I
didn't even
hope.
talk about.
I hope
It's
people
gonna
see
be
that the odds.
Jacob.
I hope people see that the odds of Roman winning have now went down.
Yeah, but
Like,
not as much as you think. Not as much as you
I
think. And
mean,
the only reason I say that is because it's Roman. It's Roman. You could instantly just thrust them in there. Is it fair? Oh, but they can do it. They've done it before.
that's very true. I just don't think they're really in a need to. I think they're more set on the Cody Roman. I think they just realize like we don't need the title for that. Like let give
Right.
Drew his run. Like Cody Roman be, 3, not be for a title, and it's really just to show who's the better of the two.
So okay, real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. We're running out of time. But how do we get to Roman and Cody 3 from Cody's end? Because remember, Cody still has to have his rematch. And so when does his rematch occur?
I'm glad you. So I don't know why you're so in this thought of that they need to do rematch. They stopped the whole rematch clause thing a long time ago.
Man, come on, bro.
So
Come on, bro.
there's no guarantee that Cody gets. I'm sure he will, and I'm sure it'll probably be
The way it ended
at
too,
elimination.
like,
I'm sure it'll probably be at elimination chamber. I mean, it could possibly be at Saturday night's main event too.
yeah.
Before, in 2 weeks. But how do we get there? I'm glad you asked because who was two of the last four that I had in my final four of the Rumble?
You had Braun,
I
you
had
had
Rome,
Roman,
I had
you
Jacob,
had Jacob, yeah. Who
and
was the
I
other
had
one?
Cody.
Cody.
So you already had the fate. You already, and you have Cody in turn eliminate Roman from the match. So now Roman's got some type of animosity to actually want to, because it's kind of like, why would Roman want to go after Cody? Because Roman only wanted to go after Cody because he had the title. From what Roman said last time that we seen him.
Right.
So you have him or not screw, but just eliminate him from the Rumble. So now he doesn't have a chance. And now you have Roman potentially in the Elimination Chamber. And the only thing I don't like about all of this is I don't like how much with all it, because like, I don't know if I even want Roman in the Elimination Chamber.
You don't need him in the Elimination Chamber.
It's like, especially
he doesn't need to be there.
Only reason, and I wouldn't even want this to happen, is like the only way I would want him in the Elimination Chamber is to have Cody in the Elimination Chamber.
And
is if you have Cody, and then you have
does
Cody.
Does it come down to them two at the final?
No,
is that
because
what you,
I have Sami winning the title at, obviously it doesn't.
Okay, so yeah, so they would have them starting the match.
The last three would be Sami, Roman, and Cody. And Cody would eliminate Roman, and then Sami would end up pinning Cody.
Wow, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Sami the legitimacy that he could actually go and beat Drew. Why? Because I just did the same thing you did. You beat Cody. I just did the same thing you did. I beat Cody.
Yeah. One more thing, and then we gotta go. Randy, I know he's got his thing with the Miz right now, going into the Royal Rumble with Drew. I know last episode we talked about him going heel. Is it a possibility that he still goes heel anytime before WrestleMania? If not, will it be after WrestleMania? And number two, what is his plan for WrestleMania? Who is he feuding with going into WrestleMania? Where is he getting placed? Because if he's not nowhere near the title, is he fighting Is he fighting Trick? Is that what they're prepping? Is that what they're
fighting Trick?
Yeah,
I was just gonna say that.
That wouldn't be bad, especially a debut match for him at WrestleMania. Trick Williams.
I don't necessarily think they're gonna push for Randy to become heel now, since it really doesn't make sense. You need all the baby faces. You already don't have enough baby faces, which, I mean, in my theory, this isn't even a long title reign for Drew anyways. Unless you're gonna give Cody a rematch at Elimination Chamber, you're gonna need somebody for Drew to, go up against there. You're gonna need somebody for Drew to go up against at Roy. Well, when is the whole tournament that they're having? Is that at
It starts.
I'm saying, when do they get their shot at Drew? Is that at
Royal Rumble?
It's at Royal.
It's at Royal Rumble. Yeah.
I could see Randy potentially winning this.
Okay, but he's gonna lose.
I know, but it's like, at least you're giving somebody to help establish as a good first feud for Drew.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, I could see him possibly winning. The story would be Sami, and then this kind of kills you picking Sami for the Rumble, but have Sami win so he faces Drew at the Royal Rumble. He loses, then he goes on to Elimination Chamber, and like, in this whole time, Sami's trying to get another rematch at Drew, and Drew's like, I already beat pretty much already beat you. So then, we go to Elimination Chamber. That's when Sami goes again. And then, the lead up is pretty much Drew not taking Sami serious.
And then your whole scenario plays out. And then
right. Made Sami, the usual Sami storyline, pretty much just written in a different font. But yeah, I think you probably have Randy fight some up and comer. More than likely Drake.
Okay. I had to ask because that's my favorite wrestler. Just so y'all didn't know. Favorite wrestler of all time. I was already thinking
about it. Like, I don't even know what we do with Randy in these scenarios.
But yeah, dude, it's gonna be a heck of a ride. Hell of a ride going into WrestleMania season. Boy, we are on it. We are on the fast track.
Buckle up and enjoy the ride or sit back and enjoy the ride The Rock is taking you on, in the words of the Bald Fraud. But the Bald Fraud has nothing with these storylines. Hopefully.
Yeah, not really, hopefully. But nah, guys, that's all we got for you guys this week. Let us know in the comments, man. Let us know who you think is winning the Royal Rumble this year. We are interested to see you guys' predictions in the comments.
Right. Who do you guys got? What are your guys' thoughts on WrestleMania? What do you guys think WrestleMania's cards are going to look like?
And what are you guys' thoughts on Drew McIntyre becoming the new Universal Champion as well? And how long do you think he's going to hold it? We're interested to hear all your thoughts. Don't forget to drop all the comments down below. You know, y'all know what it is, bro. It's right in the ropes.
Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right,
right
man. Love y'all. Y'all already know what it is. Yes, sir. Y'all know what it is, bro. Love. We out.